Hello, algebra students. Mr. Lawrence here with your flipped lesson, and I want you to pay close attention. Make sure you're taking good notes on this lesson. Today we are going to be writing equations when only given 2 points. We're going to write them in slope-intercept form, which means we're going to need to do two things. One, we're going to need to identify the slope. And remember, the slope in the equation y equals mxp plus b is represented by the m. And then the b is where we find our y-intercept. Remember, a y-intercept is the point on the y-axis that the line crosses, and we know the x-coordinate is 0 of any point on the y-axis. So let's take a look at these 2 points. We have the points 5, 3 and 0, 2. Well, the first thing I'm going to do, step 1, is I'm going to find my slope. And my slope, I'm going to subtract the y values. They're going to rise to the top, and I'm going to subtract the x values. When I do that, I'm going to get a slope of 1/5. All right, I'm halfway done with my problem. Now I need the y-intercept, or the b. Now, there's a long way to do this, and we're going to have to do it the long way on most problems. But if you're paying attention, you're thinking about what we're doing, you're looking at this second point right here. It's the point 0, 2. Isn't that point going to be found on the y-axis? If that point is on the line of the equation that we're graphing, it's on the y-axis, isn't it? Doesn't it have to be the y-intercept? Sure it does. So b is going to equal 2. So now we have our equation. We take y equals, we put the slope in, we multiply it by x, and then we add the y-intercept. And it's just that simple. All right, let's try it on this one. It won't be quite as easy. Step 1 is still the same. We're going to find the slope. And so I'm going to do 8 minus 11. And I'm going to put that over 10 minus 8. So I went like this. 8 minus 11, which means I'm forced to go 10 minus 8. All right, when I do that, I get negative 3 over 2, or a slope of negative 3 halves. All right, so now here's how we find the y-intercept. I'm going to use the equation y equals mx plus b. I'm actually going to use it twice. First, I'm going to write down y equals mx plus b. And my goal is going to be to figure out what b is. I'm going to highlight it. That's what I'm going to be trying to figure out. I don't know what b is, but I'm going to try to figure it out. Did I mention I'm trying to figure out what b is? Okay. Now, I know my slope is negative 3 over 2. I'm going to put that in m's place right there. If I knew an x value and a y value, I could simplify the equation, solve it for b, and I would know my y-intercept. Well, because I know 2 points, I know 2 x's and 2 y's. I'll pick one of them, whichever one I think is easiest to work with. I think I'll pick the point 10, 8. And that's an x value, and the 8's a y value. That doesn't look like an x. There we go. I'm having lots of problems with my airliner right now. Okay, so, I'm in trouble here. I'm going to write 10. I'm going to write 10 in for x, but since the slope is a fraction, I'm going to put it as 10 over 1. And the y value then must be 8. I'm going to simplify the right-hand side of this equation by multiplying negative 3 over 2 times 10 over 1. And then I will go ahead and get b alone by either adding or subtracting whatever I get. So, all right, so I'm going to have 8, and that's going to equal negative 15. How did I get negative 15? Well, I simplified the 10 over the 2. Okay, and that's plus b. And then I'll listen to Saddam. And Saddam will tell me to add 15 to both sides. So I'll add 15 to both sides. And I'll get 23, and that'll be equal to b. And so my equation becomes, here's the second time I use y equals mx plus b. Now please notice, I am not filling in 4 numbers. I am filling in only the slope and the y-intercept. In fact, let me do this. I highlighted the b, so here's b right here, and my slope is this number here, right? I'm going to fill those numbers into the equation y equals mx plus b. So I have y, and that's going to equal the slope times x plus 23, and I am done. All right, let's look at 2 more examples. I know this video is going a little bit longer than normal, at least it will with 2 more examples, but I want you to get lots of practice at seeing how this is done. And you need to try some of these too. Okay, step 1, I'm going to find the slope. So in this case, I'm going to do 10 minus 11 over 6 minus 9. I'm going to get negative 1 over negative 3, which is going to simplify to 1/3. So my slope is 1/3. And I'm just going to go ahead and highlight that. I'm going to use that guy a couple times. All right. I'm going to write the equation y equals mx plus b. I'm going to plug in the slope if I can. There we go, 1/3. I'm going to plug in an x value. I think I'll use 6 over 1. I'm solving for b, and I need to plug in 10 for y. Had I plugged 9 in here, then I would have to use 11 over here, right? Okay, so remember I'm looking for b, so I'm going to, let me see here, 10 is going to equal 1/3 times 6, I believe, comes out to be 2, plus b. I'll subtract 2 from both sides. 8 equals b. And now I know that b is the same as 8. I'm ready to write my equation. And this is the easy part. Don't mess it up. You've done so much hard work. Don't mess it up here. I need a y variable and an x variable in my equation. I only substitute in the m and the b, and there we go. All right, one last one. If you want to try this one on your own, I think that's a real smart idea. If you don't, just go ahead and keep watching. If you do, pause it and then unpause it when you're ready to see my solution. All right, step 1, find the slope. So I'm going to go 8 minus 5, which means I must go 5 minus 10. Yes, I went 8 minus 5 this time, and so I'm going to go 5 minus 10. I'm going to get a slope of 3 or negative 5 or negative 3/5. And so now I have my slope. I'm halfway home. So I like the slope in green just to be consistent. Now I'm going to use the equation y equals mx plus b. I'm going to substitute in for y, m, and x. And this one looks like I'm going to put 8 in for y, negative 3/5 in for my slope, and I will put a 5 over 1 plus b. So that 8 is going to equal negative 3 plus b. You're wondering how I did that? Think back, till we simplified fractions. These 5's cancel each other out. All right. So now, Sorry, having a little trouble with my mouse. So I'll add 3 to both sides. So then 11 is going to equal b. So my equation now is y equals negative 3/5 x plus 11. And there you go. It's that easy. So I find my slope. I pick one of the points, plug in the x value in, plug the y value in, plug the slope in to the equation of y equals mx plus b. I solve for b. Then I take my slope and my y-intercept and I plug them into the equation. And that's it. And notice all of my answers have a y and an x. They don't have 4 points in there. So, all right, Mr. Lawrence signing off. Good night, everybody.